happy to have you here. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about referral marketing in this section. So I'm going to give it away to Jordan so he can facilitate the talk. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll be around to monitor and kind of help ask any questions if needed. So with that, Jordan, feel free to get started.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here. And I love for these kind of talks to be very interactive, especially when we're talking about marketing, because marketing is something that is so individually contexted depending on where you are. If you're close to a big urban area like we are with Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C., or if you are out in the middle of nowhere. So if you're here and participating in the chat, I love it when we can talk about what you are doing or questions that you might have. But I can tell you a little bit of our own story for those who don't know. Actually, we'll do a little bit of a share screen here and see if this will do it. Oh, perfect. You'll just see the slides on the side here. But going back to who we are. So my wife, Laura, and I, we started J&L Green Farm in 2009, and just go through these really quick. As Kara was saying, I went through the Polyface program back in 2001, back in the old days, as my kids like to say, when they asked me if things were even, black and white then. Some things that were core objectives for us, though, that we wanted to create a full-time income for ourselves. We wanted to build something that we value, do things that we enjoy. I may be able to make these slides larger, I'm being told. I don't think I can on my end, because it would go full screen on my screen and then I couldn't see this one. Let me try. Yeah, so now I just can't see it. So I'll just keep it here. Okay. Finding solutions to the challenges small farms like us face when starting up. It's pretty hard to be a first generation farmer today and actually starting a farm and getting it going when you want it to be something full time. So we started J&L Green Farm when I left the Marine Corps in 2009. And over the first couple of years, we kind of figured out what we were going to focus on: grass-finished beef, pastured poultry, and pigs. So we do turkeys and broilers, but pigs ended up becoming our centerpiece enterprise for a couple of the things that we'll kind of talk about as we go through that. When you're not a commodity producer and you are engaging the market and marketing your products, you do have to produce what the market wants to buy, right? We just can't put them on the trailer and take them down to the stock sale or have a contract with an integrated company. So we have to be responsive to what the market wants and the context of the farm that we have. And for us, it turned out to be pigs was really where our opportunity was. A lot of the ground that we manage, which is on pasture, like you can see in this one, or in the forest, isn't suited for running, cattle or poultry, but it works really well for a pastured pig operation. So we got started doing that. We ended up backing our way by about year 2 into a farrowing operation because we couldn't find a good source of piglets. So we started birthing our own. And from there, we ended up creating a closed herd, developing a phenotype of pastured-based genetics that work well in our context here in Virginia, which can be 10 degrees in the winter. It could be 100 degrees during the summer, that we run entirely in the woods or on pasture. Now, for the winter months, we do run some of our things in these portable shelters that you can see here. We will wean a lot of our pigs in these. And this is just kind of a group of some of our finishing pigs that I wanted to just get through this kind of introductory context. So you kind of know where we're coming from before we really start talking about some marketing. Now, for us, coming from a military background, mission is a big thing. And so for us, we had, our mission with our hog operation is we want to produce healthy, low stress hogs and the highest quality pork by mimicking millennia of selective pressures and genetic adaptation through movement in an ecosystem while grazing and foraging. And then we wanted to reduce or eliminate many of the infrastructure cost prohibition small farmers face, and then building, properly managing the disturbance and manure load, and building symbiotic connections with other enterprises. So that covers a little bit there of where we are coming from. Now, I wanted to switch over to here and kind of use some of our marketing slides to jump off of how we got going. So we'll do this right here. When you're looking at starting that marketing, where are you going to find these customers? How are you going to attract them? Those are all very valid questions to have, but it really comes back to work that has to be done almost beforehand on how are we going to get ready to start marketing our product. And three things that we kind of focused on was, number one, that we wanted to have a very high quality product. It can be easy, when we get carcass back from the processor and maybe there's something that is not the highest quality cut, or a busted package, or maybe even a whole animal when it goes is not the best condition. If we are going to market a high-end product to a higher end type of clientele who are paying a premium price, quality has to be one of the most paramount kind of things that we are going to orient around. That it's a high quality product, a high quality experience, all around for us and for our customers. The other thing too is accessibility and convenience, and this is where it goes back to the context that you have for where you are in the country. Are you accessible? Like if you want to have a farm stand on your farm, is it something where it's easy for people to get to, or are you out in the middle of nowhere where people can't find you? Either one of those can work, but identifying your number two of your accessibility slash convenience will help you when you start to develop your delivery model. Let's say if you are close to a metropolitan area or a city where you can attract people to come out to your farm, that accessibility is there. Then having something like a farm store, even dabbling in agritourism, is something that's viable because you are convenient, you're accessible to the customer. If it's out in the middle of nowhere, there's still models that will work, but it might have to be something that is more shipping based, where you're e-commercing your product, you're collecting customers that way, you're marketing through social media, and then you are shipping product to where they are. So identifying where your farm and where your business kind of falls on the accessibility convenience is pretty essential. And then the last thing that we consider is actually price. When we are developing prices for our products, this is not a conventional kind of template where we are going to say, a USDA report for what prices are for pasture-based stuff. You can actually pull that for like pastured poultry. They do some reporting out of North Carolina on these things. As we'll go through here in just a minute, we are building our price list that we will market with. That's an internally driven thing before we start looking anywhere else. So when we are preparing to engage the market, then at our third point, we're going to have our price. So where is the prices we develop? Where are they relating to quality and then accessibility and convenience? And we found that price doesn't matter for someone who's looking for quality. And then price can be less of an issue for someone who is looking for convenience. So a story I like to tell on this was 10 years ago, went down to the local convenience store and wanted to grab a snack. And I noticed on the counter, they had this smoked cured bacon, like a jerky kind of thing. And I was like, oh, I'll give that a try. So I grabbed it and bought it, and it was like $7. And when I was sitting out in the truck, that's when I realized that it was $7 for like 2 ounces. So actually it was like $40 a pound for this stuff. But what they had hit was an accessibility and convenience factor at a decent quality, so the price was not as relevant to me. So balancing these three things as you're getting ready to market is pretty essential. So one of those three is going to be a sticking point for your customers: the quality, the accessibility, or the price. And identifying where the market you're pursuing, that demographic is, and which one of these is their pain point, is really important when you're getting started because you can address whether it's a quality issue, accessibility, price. You can try to work with your market to find a balance point where they will want to support you. So, what we have emphasized, oops, let me find where I was, for us is building a quality relationship with our customers. And it's something that we call relationship marketing. So, when you look at how marketing is done, you can have like outbound marketing and inbound marketing where, you're just like with outbound, you're cold calling, sending mass emails, just kind of going out and trying to generate a bunch of interest. Very low hit rate when you're doing something like that. And that's something that we have moved away from. Then you can have like inbound marketing where uh, you're concentrating on drawing in customers instead of disrupting them. So that would be like digital marketing, buying things, buying ads on social media, etc. Relationship marketing, what we have found is over a long period of time is the most successful way of marketing our farm and what we are doing. And so relationship marketing is a customer centric approach that focuses on building a long-term mutually beneficial relationship with your customer. So it's not a one and done kind of thing where a customer comes in, we don't care much about them. They don't care about us. And both of us go on our own way. We are going to invest into that marketing relationship with a customer. So, unlike traditional marketing strategies that revolve around transactional interactions, a relationship marketing is more grounded in the idea that customers are not just a one time buyer, but valuable connections that can provide ongoing value to us as a business as we continue to grow, and we are providing value to them. So, that will change how we approach marketing, how we're looking at customers when someone walks in the store, when someone sends us an email, etc. Because we're aiming to foster trust, loyalty, and even emotional connection between the brand and its customers. A lot of our customers, they will say, "Hey, we get our cow from Jordan and Laura," instead of calling it our business name, which happens to be J&L Green Farm. I know it's a real not original kind of name, but they identify with us in particular over say that we're just a farm or we're just a brick and mortar kind of store. That is something that a big retailer can never have. That personal connection to the customer, that someone that the customer actually has a relationship with and can feel comfortable voicing their concerns or sending an email or even sending a text or giving a call. That is an unfair advantage that we have as small farms, is offering this super high level of customer care. And that there are folks looking for that who are tired of just the self-checkout line and the impersonal nature that a lot of big retailers can take on. So a couple principles that we're going to look at here. And let me check something real quick. Let's see. And again, as we're going along, guys, if you have any questions about marketing, feel free to drop it in the chat. Would love to stop and discuss as we go. So some principles that we're going to have is customer centricity. In relationship marketing, the customer is at the center of all activities. It's not just about selling a product, but understanding the customer's needs, preferences, and expectations. Personalization. So one of the key principles here is that we are getting to know our regular customers by name, even though there are hundreds of them. This is something that Laura handles a lot of. She knows what their preferences are. When they're ordering, say, like a chicken, if they like a heavier one or a lighter one, she will have knowledge of that customer to help meet their specific personalization, let's say. And then communication and engagement. So it's building relationships require ongoing communication and engagement. Farm businesses, you can use a lot of channels for this. We have found email to be our our most successful mode of interacting with our customers. But certainly you can use things like social media and feedback from the customers to answer questions, gather insight on how we can improve. We try to put out surveys to our customers fairly regularly to see what they are resonating with and how we can better serve them. So, what are some of the benefits here of relationship marketing? Certainly, customer loyalty. We have a very loyal core group of customers that support our farm. Even if they move away, they will tend to continue to order from us, and we can ship the product to them. So, if someone could let me know, I am missing it here in my notes, what time I'm supposed to wrap this up at, that will really really help. It reduces, one of the things you start digging into is customer acquisition cost. Like how much is your business actually spending to find a customer? And we found our best spend in that area is having a strong emphasis on our existing customers to help us find new customers as opposed to AdWord campaigns or social media campaigns. I know farms that are doing those very successfully, but we have emphasized our customers and spending money on them. So, that can be, we are incentivizing them with, hey, if you bring us a customer, we will give you a credit on your account. We'll give them a credit. So word of mouth kind of referral. So satisfied customers are more likely to become brand advocates and then spreading positive word of mouth and referring friends and family to businesses. Those referrals are highly valuable as they come from a trusted recommendation. If you think about, if I'm looking for XYZ product out there that I, am kind of testing the market from, I will want to talk to people that I trust to see, hey, what do you like? What brand of car do you like? What, brand of this, that, and the other do you like? If we can incentivize our customers and be delivering on our marketing to them with that high level of experience and the quality of the product at a price they can be happy with, they are going to give us that positive word of mouth referral. And you can emphasize that with your messaging to your customers. Also can give a competitive advantage. So companies that excel in relationship marketing gain a competitive edge in the market while being competitive on a cost, when being competitive on a cost basis isn't possible. So we know we can never compete with a commodity supplied retailer just based on cost. It costs us $2 a pound just to have pork, for instance, put into USDA packaging. That's just our cut and wrap cost. So we can't compete with a big integrator through a regular type of retailer. We have to meet the customer's needs somewhere else. Now, where we absolutely can outcompete is with the quality of our product and the relationships that we build with our customers. So many customers are willing to pay a higher price for quality and to support a brand they believe in. Let me check something here real quick. All right, cool. We are getting close to the end. Thank you, Kara. I just figured out the schedule button up there. So as we've got a few more minutes here, anybody who's here, if you have some questions about marketing, feel free to jump in, and I'll cover these last few slides over here on the presentation. So the last thing I did wanted to touch, if you are going to directly retail your products from your farm, having a proper price list in place first is absolutely essential. When we have something like this, which would be kind of pulled from the front of our website, arriving at those numbers behind, the worst thing that, not the worst thing, but a very stressful thing can be when you start the farm, you start retailing, you're at the farmer's market, people are coming to your farm and the business starts running out of money because you haven't done the numbers behind the scenes to know what you actually need to charge for the product. You're looking to the left and right, and you're just taking prices from other folks that are there. So a couple things to look at. One is cut audits. It will look something like this. We have a cost sheet where we are pulling all of our costs to produce the animal. And then we have a cut audit like this, where periodically when we are getting animals back, getting carcasses back, we're going to enter the weight for every cut that we sell. And from there, we can build out a price list. So pulling numbers from this, we know how much it costs us to produce a finished retail ready hog. And then we can build a price list off of that you could see over here. And as long as these numbers correspond, that our compilation, our averages of all the cuts and the prices that we have, what our average per animal is matching roughly what our cost to produce it is, all in cost, including labor. We know that the price list we are presenting to the customers is accurate to what it needs to be for our products. So I think I wrapped it up kind of on time there. What kind of questions do you have about marketing? This is something that we usually take like a day to go over. Once a year, we have an on-farm event, what we call the Farrow to Finish and Marketing School, where we talk for a full day about how to market products. So this was jamming a lot of information into like 20, 25 minutes. But specifically, if you have a question that you would like to address here in the last minute, feel free to drop it in the chat, or I will get close to wrapping it up here. So from Greg here, any online resources for doing pricing on the products like what we showed? Yeah, I mean, this is something we help people do. So if you want to reach out to me, farmbuilders@gmail, I would be happy to help you with that. There are some resources kind of from USDA out there and some other university-based stuff, not as kind of streamlined that we have made it, but there are plenty of free calculators out there as well to help formulate what's the baseline cost of your product, because it's so, we've kind of gotten into the mindset of whatever the price is at the stock sale, that's kind of what we get, or what the contract is paying, that's what the farm gets, and then you have to make the farm work with that, which usually is unprofitable. So it's almost an unexercised muscle for us farmers to relearn the process of setting our own prices. But it gives you back that power of pricing to actually have a profitable enterprise. So there's some out there. Reach out to me if you can't find something that works for you. Cool. Anything else? We about good, Kara? Should we go right up to 2:30?
Yeah, so I think we're good to start wrapping up. Thank you so much for your presentation. I know you were mentioning email to contact you and how to find out to get involved with. You said marketing school, is it? Could you tell us a little bit about that to see, in case Greg were involved, what could he expect maybe if he wanted to participate?
Sure. Yeah, you can find out information that we're doing on the education side. So we have our farm operation, which is what we work in every day and what our staff works in. We've started kind of a side hustle of education and consulting on how we do it, so not everyone has to relearn the wheel. All that info would be at farmbuilder.us is probably the easiest place to go. And then you could find, we have a YouTube channel. It's just called Farm Builder. And then you could find me on kind of Instagram and Facebook, a little bit on X, not much, but that would be at Farm Builder at those places as well. I think we lost Kara. All right, assessing farmers markets. How do I know which one to sell at? Well, unfortunately, the best farmers markets are the ones that have a 3-year waiting list. So when starting it, it's more like you have to see which ones you can get in and just go test them out. The advantage is if you are selling meat, you're selling a product that's year round. Most farmers markets are seasonal. So if you can use the farmers market, it is a sales outlet, but use it as a marketing outlet. So you are getting emails from your customers, you're getting their contact. That way, when the market is over at the end of the season, hopefully you can start to move them into a more efficient outlet for your products. If you could start like a drop site or maybe shipping directly to them, etc. So when you're starting, farmers markets are a great place to market because you have an excess of time to customers' time. You can stand there while they are deciding what they want to buy and you're there waiting for them to make a decision. But as the business grows, there will come a inflection point where the farmer's market is no longer the most efficient use of your marketing and sales time, and you need to have a plan to move beyond that. So we did 5 farmers markets a week for about the first 5 years of our farm, and then we progressively dropped out of them, and we do not do any at this point. But you really don't know till you go there and just see how it's doing. So thanks, Greg. Great question. That could be a whole other session there.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was gonna say it would definitely, I'm sure, be helpful later on to hear about how, translating customers from farm market to more long term. And I'm sure that's something you touch on in marketing school. So thank you again so much for your time and for talking to us today. And we'll jump back into that main chat.
All right.